Oh yeah, the next thing I want to talk about was 𝙧𝙧𝙧's tarot card reading for me. So 𝙧𝙧 asked me what I would like to be read on. Because there's like love, work, or career, and then there's like life in general. So I wanted 𝙧𝙧 to read about my life. Because I want to see if I'm gonna die. I'm not gonna... So, you know, it was a very intense moment. I sit down with 𝙧𝙧, and I don't know if I was ready to get my cards read or something. So I told 𝙧𝙧, I was like, can I maybe go after 𝙘𝙖 instead? 𝙧𝙧 didn't say anything, and I remember feeling like chills down my spine. He looked at me as if he was like looking into my soul. And like the way that 𝙧𝙧 was staring at me was as if he wasn't actually looking at me, but like looking into something deeper. I don't know how to explain it, but I was just like, 𝙧𝙧? Are you 𝙧𝙧 or are you someone else? And then, in the softest, beautifulest voice possible, 𝙧𝙧 was like, you're going first. And I was just like, 𝙧𝙧, please stop. I don't know if you're doing this on purpose, but you're freaking me out, you know? I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. Like, oh my god, goodbye. Let me text my father. I love him. You know, tell my baby brother that I'm sorry I couldn't grow up to see him be older. I was like, oh my god, all these people in my life I have to say goodbye to. You know, I was just like, what is happening? So then, you know, I went first. So I sat down. It was very quiet. So like, 𝙧𝙧 starts laying out the cards, okay? And after he lays out the cards, he looks at it, and he takes a deep breath, and he's like, this is a lot. I couldn't help but start laughing. I was like, I mean, low-key, that's not really a surprise for me. I mean, like, I was the only one living through my entire life, you know? Yeah, I mean, it is a lot. But if you can tell that just from, like, looking at cards, holy shit, you really are, like, a psychic. But then 𝙧𝙧 was saying how, like, it's a little bit, like, of a surprise for them because seeing it all laid out is very, like, I guess a little bit overwhelming sometimes. So, 𝙧𝙧 starts reading my cards. I'm not gonna lie, I can't remember every single card. But, the first few cards probably, like, talked about, like, present, past, and future. So, 𝙧𝙧 kind of read my past card, and they were saying how, like, there was, like, a lot going on and not super good things. Low-key, I was just like, that is so true, bestie. I mean, mentally ill mom, mentally ill that, this person, that. Step-grandmother passing away last year. Like, oh my god, yeah, yeah, that card better be f***ing dark. Like, I mean, if it was a light card, I'd be like, I think you pulled out the wrong cards. But like, yeah. And then, the present was more like, I can't remember the present card, but it wasn't like too bad, I believe. And I think there was like this future card that's like, the possibility of feeling more at peace is definitely there. And that's always nice to hear, you know? I don't really know if I'm really there quite yet. But at the very least, like comparing this year to last year, I do feel like I'm a little bit more at peace. I know I still sound like I have a really grumpy attitude, but I'm sure you guys can tell by like my attitude. And again, like for tarot cards, I think it's either a really good reminder of what you should try focusing on. But overall, what the tarot card kind of taught me was that, you know, I know that I'm very self-deprecating and I make a lot of like dark, concerning jokes. And you know, a part of it is really funny. But there's a little bit of truth to like the jokes, just like slightly. And I think 𝙧𝙧 was telling me that like, I could probably start out not thinking that fully, but I think if you start to say it every day, it'll probably push you to believe it more. I always kind of knew that at the back of my mind, but it was really nice to have like a reminder, like, hey, maybe cut down on stuff like that. So I definitely know that like, I probably should be a little bit more nicer to myself. Consciously and subconsciously. So yeah, that is a little bit of like rewiring in the brain, personally for me. And another card that 𝙧𝙧 was more like concerned about. There was this card where I believe it was a tower, and this tower had like fire on it. And that tower card is apparently not really a good card. And that was like one of the last cards to be flipped. I remember 𝙧𝙧 kind of looking at this card and I was like, I'm really afraid of this card. I was like, don't say that. I'm gonna like freak out. I think it's just probably like what 𝙧𝙧 told me, how they inferred it is like a lot of self-sabotage. Basically, even if good things happen, I tend to think negatively about it. It's not so much that I enjoy being in negative environments because nobody does, but because I might feel a little bit more familiar in those situations. And because you already start yourself off with a negative mindset, you probably most likely will like either consciously or subconsciously, like, I don't want to say ruin the opportunity, but just like not make it as good as it seems. That makes a lot of sense to me. I'm not super duper like surprised about that. But it was definitely very nice to see in my tarot card reading because like it's definitely something I don't really work on You know, I don't really worry too much even if there are bad cards that like pop up in my deck, because I know that if I can realize something, I can totally work on it. I've done it before, you know, like as soon as somebody kind of tells me like, hey, you have to be more conscious on this, like I can definitely work my way towards it. So yeah, I wanted Uki to also read my love life because I was just curious, and I was just like, oh my god, you know, Hoshikawa-senpai said, you know, I was really cute, so like it should like me. So Uki flipping all the cards for my love reading, and you know, that fucking tower thing comes back in. I'm just like, can you like f off? Like seriously? Okay, I'm so tired of seeing this burning tower. Like please, like leave me alone. Anyway, besides that card, I think like the gist of it was maybe the timing right now isn't right. And honestly, deep down, I feel that way too. I think I really have been putting my focus on other things. I know I complain about being single every day, and I dream about my beautiful husband in the future, but the truth is, in the present moment, I'm really busy, so... I'm like, low-key, if I had like a boyfriend, I would not have time to even hang out with them. Like, I'd probably be like, yeah, sorry, I'm busy. Yeah, that tower thing kept popping up, and I'm just like, I saw that card. I'm just like, why is that card popping up again? You know, like, what the f? It was, you know what? It was probably because, like, the first night I was there, we went to the Korean barbecue, okay? This really, really cute boy came in on me while I was in the bathroom. Like, he was very handsome. He had beautiful green eyes. I was like, oh my god, he's wonderful. But like, I definitely self-sabotaged at that point because I did not ask that boy for his number, you know? When that card appeared in my love reading for tarot card readings, I was like, oh my god, I know what this card is trying to tell me to do. That card was telling me like, bestie, you missed your chance, you idiot. Like, what's wrong with you? Damn it, that card was right. It was like, oh my god, you fucked up. You're burning. You've messed up. You'll never see him again. And now you don't even have like any, like, you don't even know the first digit of his number. Like, congratulations, you fumbled. So I was like, oh, well, goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. So you know what, guys? If you're very self-aware, I'm sure all of these cards probably are things that like you have thought about. But like, it's really nice for somebody to tell you like, oh yeah, this could be a thing. Or like, you know, maybe you need to work on this part. And you know, the only person who's ever really done my tarot card reading was Uki. And I'm glad that it has only ever been Uki, because like, I think anyone else, I would be really like, I don't really want to like talk about feelings. Because Uki has a really good intuition. Like, they're really good at understanding how somebody feels, even if they're not really vocal about it. You know, as a person who doesn't like being too vocal about how they feel and stuff, I'm always making jokes and then like masking it with like my wonderful God-given voice, you know? It's really hard for me to like, first of all, take myself seriously, and also make sure that I convey how I actually feel to other people, which usually I don't want to do. So it's nice to have somebody just kind of see through that a little bit. So, yeah, I gotta work on that. Okay, maybe next year I'll ask Uki for another tarot card reading. And my goal is to make sure that tower card does not appear again. So, let's all pray, okay? Let's all pray. Always wanted everybody to call me One-chan. I'm gonna get demonetized.